Hey, what's up guys? So welcome back to another tutorial. So in this video, I'm going to explain to you how we can build the multi-slack chip. So here you see we have the list of cars inside those chips, and once I select more of them, you see here it's perfectly insert inside our chip. And if I click Lexes, if I just unselect one of them, like these are all highlighted, and if I just want to unselect one of them, and you see now it's removed from the list, right? So if I click on the save button, so it's saved successfully. So I've done this thing with the two different ways. So the first way is that you see here that I have used with the comma separated, and you see all the selected items or the categories are inserted in the comma separated form. Now, if I want to insert that in different rows, so I need to just uncomment my code from my VS Code. I'm going to show you all the example with the two different ways. So this is the demo. So if I just refresh that, and now if I just select BMW, Tesla, Audi, and more, so you see if I just try to click save here, the data saves successfully without page reloading. And if I go back to my phpMyAdmin, you see here now it's inserted in all different rows. So that's what we are going to build all from the scratch. So I hope you guys will love it. So let's jump in and get started in the coding section. Alright guys, so first thing you need to do is to go to your htdocs folder where you have your projects coming in. So I'm going to open up with my VS Code or anything, you Git bash or whatever you have the shell to install. So I'm going to create the very fresh copy of the Laravel project. So composer create dash project Laravel/Laravel and the name of the project which I want to have multi_select_chip. So let's press enter, and this is going to take some time, and I will be right back once it's installed. Alright, so the project has been successfully installed, so I need to go to the multi_select_chip. So, and let's open up with the help of VS Code. So all I need is to code space dot, and this is going to open up my project, right? So let me zoom this one so you guys could see. So, so let's go back to your .env to set up your database. So there it is. So DB connection MySQL host. And that's the database name. So I'm going to change that to multi_select_chip, and I need to create that same database name inside my phpMyAdmin. So I'm going to go to my phpMyAdmin, and let's create a new one and create that, and that's it. That's all we need. All right, so let's open up your VS Code terminal, and you can just simply add up your model first. So I'm going to create here a model with the name of category. So PHP artisan make model category -m for migration. So this is going to run the migration for us. So once the migration has been run, I also need to create here a controller. So let's create here a controller with the name of category controller. Alright, so that's the controller has been created successfully. So I need to create here a very basic layout here. So let's go inside here, resources, views, and change that welcome.blade to be index.blade.php, and I'm going to remove everything from here, right? So this is the very basic HTML structure. All I need is here let's give here the title of multi-select chip. All right, so right inside here, I'm going to use here some select to, because we're going to work with the multi-select chip. So that's the very good documentation you can see here for the select to, but I'm going to use here cdnjs.com, and let's use here select to. Simply write up here select to, go inside your select to, and pick up the minified version for the CSS and the JavaScript, right? So this is the JS file, and this is the minified CSS file. So first I'm going to copy that one here and put that right after that. All right, so link href equal to that, and just simply add up here. That's it. And for the JS file, I need to pick up my JS one. All right, so let's pick up the CSS one. Copy link tag. That's much better to use. All right, so right after the body tag, I'm going to use this one, and that's the CSS. I also need some jQuery tag, so you can open up here with the help of code.jQuery.com. you can pick up the CDN for the jQuery. So that should be the uncompressed version. Copy that and simply add it before the CDN for the, and I actually did one thing wrong here. That's a CSS CDN. That's not the JS CDN actually. I need to go back to the cdnjs.com side, and actually I need to pick up the JS one, right? So that's it. And put that right after here, right? And the last thing that I need here is the Bootstrap 4. I have used Bootstrap 4. You can use any one of them, right? So it's all up to you. So I'm going to use Bootstrap v4.6. So let's copy that right after the, right before the select to minified version. All right. So that's it. And now let's create here a very basic form for the Bootstrap. So let's create here a container with the margin top of 5. And right after that, I just need to give some space from the top, and let's create here a row. Right inside the row, let's create here the column md-6. So I also need to bring some offset to make that into the center. So dot offset dash md-3. All right. So right inside here, I'm going to create here a card, and inside card we have a card header class. So let's give it here favorite brands. All right, so right after that, let's create here card dash body. Right inside the card body, I need to use here another, let's use here the, you can use create here a form with the action. So I don't need here any actions because we are going to work with the Ajax. So let's give it the ID of favorite underscore, let's suppose favorite underscore cars underscore form, let's suppose. I need to like give that in the dash favorite car dash form. So right inside the form tag, I need to create here is the form group bootstrap class. So I'm going to copy that up from my VS Code. So there it is. So that's the very basic select box that I created here. You see here we have the options, and so these are the select tags, and the label ends here, and the form group. So that's the select tool. So let's open up my terminal and run here php artisan serve. And if I go back here and refresh this, so it says that view welcome not found, because I need to create here a route for this. So let's go back to the VS Code. Oops, I need to close the this one. All right. So let's go to your routes web.php, where we have to define the routes for this folder. So I'm going to remove this one and create a new one. So let me go to web.php, and all I need here is first go right up here. So use app slash, so actually I need to define here the path. So use app slash http slash controllers, and the name of the controller in my case, which is the category controller. All right. So that's the I need to write here the route. So let's write this one and add here category controller, and the name of the method, which in my case is the index, right? So let's go back into the controller. So let's define here a view, which is very simple, public function index, and that's the return view file. So this is the name of the file, remember that, and that's the route that we need, this, which is the root, right? All right, so let's go back to the browser and see how it looks now. If I go back and refresh it, so you see here it still looks not completed because we are unable to select those chips. So I need to go and initialize that one. So for initialization, go right after the inside the index.blade.php file, right after the body tag, I need to define here the function, the document ready function, or you can define it that way. So there are multiple ways, and I forget to bring those scripts and put that right inside the scripts. So right inside the function, because we are working with a select2 and we defined the minified version for the JS, as you could see here. So here in our case, the ID is favorite dash, it should be favorite dash, let's give it the ID of favorite dash cars and bring this right here. Remember that the ID should be same. All right, so this is going to be defined, and the name of the actually we didn't create any migration table. So let's go here inside our database migrations, and let's go inside the category one and define here the migration for the title. So let's define here string table string. Let's define here title. All right. And that's it. Very basic and very simple. So let's run here the migration. So PHP artisan migrate, and you see now the migration has been run successfully, and we have also initialized that. So let's go back and see, check this out how it looks. So if I go back and refresh this, so still we have some issues here. Let me check this out. All right, so let's define here the style sheet. I missed that actually. It's very important to initialize your CSS. So let's define that as a part of the CSS file. And let's go back to your Chrome browser and refresh this, and you see now it's working very well. All right, so that's the beauty of the select two options, right? So let's go back and define the rest of the things. So here we have initialized the select two, and let's define here the request, how we can submit the request, right? So let's right inside those scripts here, I'm going to define my jQuery selector, and I have to define here the ID that I define in the form, and I need to serialize it. With the help of serialization, I'm going to submit the form. So serialization means that we have to convert the data into the jQuery string into the JSON key value format so that we can save the data into our database. So let's first define the form ID, and we have a submit. Once we submit that, so we have on submits button. So I also forget to define my submits button. Very simple. All you need to do is to go right after the select and this div option. I'm going to define here the button here. So button with the type of submits, and that's the bootstrap class. And let's go down here, and once it's on submits, I'm going to define here a function. So let's define that here. So once I submit that, right inside here, I'm gonna stop my form from submitting. So let's define here event.prevent default. It will stop the function until the event's completed. So let's define here event.prevent default, and I need to serialize my form data. So let's define here form data variable equal to $this dot serialize. All right, so let's go down here and define our Ajax request. So right inside the Ajax request, we have to define three things. First, so this should be the URL and the type of the request, which in our case is the post request. And we also need to define here the data, which is coming from the serialization, which is the data form data. And we have to, after the success function, so once the function successfully submitted, so let's pass here the response, and depending on the response that is coming from the server, if that is successful, we have to display that the request is successfully submit, and on the other case, if that request is not completed successfully, we need to display here the error function. So let's define here the error function with the XHR response. That's going to check that either the response is what kind of error that we have if that request is not submitted successfully. So we have an object inside XHR, which is the response text. So show us the text message. All right, so that's it. All right, so let's go back to the controller. and I need to create here another route for this. So I'm gonna create here the route post request. Let's define here, let's give it the name of favorite dash cars, and let's copy that up from the top, define the controller and the method, and let's give it the name of the method to be store, and let's define here a name route. Let's give it here the favorite dash cars dot store method. Let's copy that up and define, oops, actually it's, yeah, this should be response text. So right inside the Ajax request, I need to define here the name route. So in order to define that, all we need to do, let's define it that way, bring here single quotes, and I need to copy that up, and that's it. That's the way how we can define the name route. All right, so that's perfect. Let's go back to the controller. So first I'm going to show you how we can insert the data with the help of comma separated form. So let's go back to the category controller, and I have defined here the name of the method, which in my case is store. So let's define here public function store, and I also need to define here the request. Right inside the request, I need to define here the request. Let's give it the favorite car variable, and let's get the request from the input, and that should be the title, and that title is, remember that it's all coming from here. That's the name, that's a title, that's a request that is coming, and make sure that it's a collection, so we define with the array form, right? So here is the request, and all I need is, once that request has been delivered, I need to create here another variable. Actually, I need to implode that. So let me define here favorite cars equal to implode method. So I need to define with the comma separated form. Let's define a comma and the request, which is coming from the dollar favorite cars. All right. So the name of the model, which in my case is the category, and I need to create that request. So simply put that here and define the title. So that's the title, and define here the favorite cars. That's it. All right, so we also have to see if that response is successful, and we need to define the response in JSON. So if that is successful, so that means it's true, show the message. So I need to show here the alert message if that request is successful. So I'm going to do in a way. So here you see, if that response is successful, let me show you real quick. So I get this response, and this success is coming from the keyword. So key value, which is the response. If that response is successful, shows the alert data say successfully, and that is a trigger. Actually, that what it does. So let me first comment this out. I'm going to show you later what it does. So let's first test this out if that is working or not. So I'm going to refresh this, and let me define here the try to save that. It doesn't save because I believe that's going to show a CSRF token message. So if I go to my console, yeah, it's showing us the 419 status. That means that it's the CSRF token error. So to fix that, we need to first define the CSRF token inside our head tag. So I'm going to define that right after this. And we also need to do here is right after the form, we also need to define our CSRF tag. So right after the form, right? So let's define here. If I try to save it, still doesn't work. Let's check this out. It shows the 500 server error. Let me check. It says that category not found because we haven't defined here inside our controller. So I'm going to define that here. So let's define that model here, and go back and refresh this. So if you try to save it, still we have 500 error. It says that the title fillable property to allow mass assignment. So I need to define that mass property inside my model for the category. So let's define that. So I need to go to my models category.php, and right after that let's define the title and go back here and try to refresh it and try to save it, and you see now data saved successfully. If I go to my database inside the categories table, and you see now the data has been saved in the comma separated form, right? So that's the first form. All right, so if I want to change a little bit, all I need to do is the changes inside my controller. So let me comment this out. That's the first way. Now, if I want to define in the second way, where I have the multiple rows inserted, all I need is just simply define that in the loop. Right, so let's define a for each. So the for each should have the request that is coming in. So as define the car, and right inside here I need to define my category. That's where I need to save. So $category into my category model, and let's define the title and define that the data which is coming from the loop. Let's define here the car. It should be car, and simply saves it with the help of eloquent save method, and that's it, right? So I hope this is gonna work. So let's first go and check this out. So I'm gonna go here and refresh this. Let me close that up and save as much as we want. If I try to click on the save button and data save successfully, and you see it's not actually cleared. So let's first check if that works. So you see now the data inserted in the multiple rows. So in order to fix that up, the select option, which is select to, which is not clear. So all we need to do, that's what I comment out here, and that's the ID that I define here inside this is the favorite dash car. Simply make that to be, let's first uncomment this out and give that favorite cars and go back. Yeah, it's fine. All right, so now if I just insert here and saves it, data successfully, and now it's all clear. So it's working your two different ways, right? So guys, hope you love this content. So don't forget to like and subscribe. So I'm gonna show you more tutorial in the next video.